Welcome to the Leeds Trinity University Media Festival 2017. This is the start of a week-long of celebrations, really, of all things that are exciting in this amazing industry that you're studying about and training to be part of, and what some of us have worked in for our careers. Those of us that work in the business or are experts on the business know how fascinating it is and how brilliant it is and how exciting it is to be part of. And what I hope this week will do is give you a little bit of a buzz and a bit of hunger that you could work to become part of it as well. So today is all about radio, which is my background, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a couple of seconds, and I'll introduce our first very special guest. But before that, I'm just going to really briefly run through what's going on during the rest of the week, because there's loads of cool stuff going on every day of the week, and each day has a kind of a slightly different theme. So first of all, we have got, oh hang on, I've got this in first. So let's go back. Hang on. Never let a radio presenter touch technology that's involved with pictures. Right, so on Tuesday we have got this fantastic event organised by Liz Cable, Escape Game HE. And this is your chance to learn about something that you might not actually have considered and known much about. And it's about these amazing, interactive, real-life escape games. And I always describe it as a kind of cross between, it's kind of like the Crystal Maze and modern virtual reality. And it's this really kind of exciting, emerging sector within our industry. And you're going to hear from some of the people at the cutting edge who are designing these spaces and these escape games. And then in the afternoon, you're going to get a chance with these experts to devise your own games. Once you've figured out what they are and how they work, there are going to be workshops and devising your own versions of that. There's people coming from all over the country who are involved in the escape game business during tomorrow's session. Then on Wednesday, we've got interactive storytelling and virtual reality. And again, this is really at the cutting edge of media storytelling. And we have the Iris Research Centre here at Leeds Trinity, which is a very exciting office doing things that are very, very new. And so if you're looking to carve out a name for yourself, exploring the content that they do could put you above your peers who are also looking for work. So there's going to be loads of cool stuff. There is going to be a virtual reality demo where you can use your smartphone to create and play a virtual reality game around campus. There is going to be, we're welcoming a really exciting game developer from London who designs computer games, interactive first-person computer games. So he's going to come to talk to you about his skill set. And we're also going to give you an update on all of the exciting projects that the Iris office are working on. So that's on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, social media Skillshare. So social media is everywhere, but a lot of people just use it to tweet what they had for lunch. But you can use this to further your career, you can use it to grow audience, and you can use it to make cash. And we're going to be looking at all different ways of you using social media to make you a product more successful and your company to make more money. So we've got loads of good talks in the morning, including an incredibly interesting one at 12 o'clock. And then we've got an afternoon of workshops where you can develop your social media profile, whether it's your personal one or whether it's the one for your business or your content idea. And then Friday, our final day of the festival, we've got some very, very exciting stuff going on. This is our Alumni Showcase. Now today is a bit of an Alumni Showcase in its own right, but on Friday we're welcoming back loads of special guests, a lot of whom are really high up in the industry, inhabiting the top director jobs. And most of Friday's guests were students here. They were sitting where you were sitting a few years ago, and they've gone on from that to graduate to really make a name for themselves in this business. So we'll be introducing you to them, And we've also got some standout guests who aren't former students but who are just amazingly interesting, including Stuart Murphy, who launched Sky Atlantic, who's a director of Sky Television Entertainment. He bought Game of Thrones to the UK market, he bought Modern Family. He commissioned Idiot Abroad, Gavin and Stacey, Little Britain. He's a big, big deal. He managed $1 billion yearly budget, and he's coming here to share his expertise. So that'll be fantastic. And also we've got a session at 11:30, How to Plan a Murder. We've got a script writer for television coming to talk through the process of writing drama for TV, Lisa Holdsworth, who is fantastic. So we've got loads of really, really, really cool stuff coming on. So please do enjoy it. And that's what's happening in the rest of Media Festival. So today is all about radio. And I would like very much to welcome back a former student of mine, a long, long time ago. It makes me feel really, really old. So she studied here about 6 years ago, then did some postgraduate study here, then went off and became a big deal in the local commercial radio scene, and now is a big deal on the national BBC level. So I've got you a jingle here, Harpz, if this works. Let's just have a look. It took me ages. There we go. Here's the jingle.
This is Harpz Kaur on BBC Asian Network.
Not thrown together, this.
Happy Sunday, Harpz here, and back to
So please put your hands together, please, and a round of applause for Harpz Kaur.
Thanks.
So, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. I have to say it's really bizarre being back. In particular, this room. I actually remember being here in front of like a really important panel, and I have to say, you know, if you stood me in front of 50,000 people, I'd be all right. But a room like this is a little bit daunting. Yeah.
So what degree did you graduate in?
I
Media.
did media studies, yes, as my undergrad.
Yeah.
I have no idea what year it was. It was a long time ago.
I think you graduated in 2011.
Okay,
Yeah.
probably was.
So did you harbour an ambition for radio when you were here, or did that come later?
It's a strange story, actually. I think I was one of them students where I was at college, I had no idea what I wanted to do at uni, whatsoever. I was a lost child, and I used to get asked all the time, so you've got to think of something, what do you want to do? And I used to laugh about it to my friends, you know, you're going to see me on the big screen one day, I'll be on the mic one day, but I never took it seriously, ever. Then it got to applying for uni, and I saw media, and underneath, all I saw was radio and TV. I didn't even know what media was, what it entailed. I just saw radio and TV, and I thought, maybe I should just give it a go and see what it's like. So I applied for it. Obviously, I got here. And the excitement level once I was here really kind of stuck in my mind, and I thought, actually, this is what I really enjoy doing. And it's probably something I'm good at, because I can talk for the world, as you can probably tell. You might have to tell me when to shut up. But yeah, that's when I really realised, and once I started getting involved with all the hands-on stuff here, I really, really, really knew what I wanted to do, and I didn't look back after that. I just thought, yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Fantastic. Can we just give a massive round of applause for Andrew Edwards, who's just come in? Hooray! Katie Lambert, producer.
Is that just for appearing?
It is, yeah. What a relief. So I'm going to play you a little jingle here, a little clip from your show. And I'm playing this one. So this is just the intro to your programme, where you say hello to listeners for the first time. Let's have a listen.
This is Harpz Kaur on BBC Asian Network. Good morning, you lovely lot. It's 3 minutes past 9 across the UK. It's the 5th of February. I know, 5 days into the second month already. Time is absolutely flying, just like this next hour is. Why? Because time flies when you're having fun. Let's kickstart with the weekend. Daft Punk, I Feel It Coming, right here on the BBC Asian Network. Tell me what you really like.
So what's it like when you study radio, you do the postgraduate course, you locally work in radio and present, but then you get that opportunity, that one that everyone wants, and very few people get. You're on a national radio station, broadcasting to all those hundreds of thousands of people. What's it like?
I still remember the moment when it happened, and it's weird actually, because when I worked in local radio, it was a dream, it was just there in my mind, but I never thought it was actually going to come true, and I never really chased it as such. I did everything I could, I worked everywhere and anywhere, I travelled up and down a lot. But in my mind, I was always like, I wish I could be on the BBC, but I didn't actually approach them. I never actually went to them saying, this is what I want to do. I just kind of built up my portfolio. And I remember putting myself forward for some random media awards. I had no idea what it was. I got shortlisted, and that's where I met some of the people from the Asian Network. And it was weird because I still didn't know who I went to meet. There was this guy on a table, and I knew he was important. Somebody just grabbed my arm, and he was like, look, I need to introduce you to someone. So I walked over, and I'm saying hi, and he's like, oh, you know, I've seen your work on Twitter, I follow you. And I was like, okay, thank you. Still don't know who you are, but I know you're important. And by the end of this conversation, he pulled out his card, and he just said, I'll be in touch. And I said, okay, cool, sounds good. I walked off. I looked at the card, and at the bottom it said, editor of BBC Asian Network. And I thought, I just spoke to someone that's pretty big. And he said he followed me on Twitter, so I went on my Twitter and I realised I'm not even following this guy back, so that's the first thing I did. And I went back home, and I didn't hear anything for 6 months. 6 months, and I was there in my bedroom, screaming and shouting at this guy, going, I bet he says that to everyone, you know, I bet he says it to everyone, he's never going to ring me. But I finally did get an email 6 months later saying, come down, we need to have a meeting. And from that meeting, all I got told was, I want you to come in and do a demo. And I was like, okay, this is getting even bigger now, all right, I'll come down for a demo. I did a demo, and I got the call whilst I was on holiday. I remember I was in Morocco, and I got the call, and he said, how would you feel if I offered you to do Sunday breakfast? I honestly was speechless for about 10 minutes. And I know you're all thinking 10 minutes is a long time, but 10 minutes, it was 10 minutes, and I just burst out crying. I don't know what it was. I was that shocked and that happy and overwhelmed that I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I don't think I actually said thanks to the guy. I was more bothered about telling my mum, going, Mum, I can't believe it, I just got it. And then I went back to him and I said, I'm so sorry, I'm just really excited that I've got this. But the feeling now of just knowing where I am, from where I've come from, the 6-year journey that I had before that, it still feels surreal. It doesn't feel real. I mean, I'm waking up every weekend, I'm waking up the nation, and it still feels like a dream. I can't explain it. I'm so thankful for where I've got to, and I don't think I'll ever take it for granted. I hope not.
So you've talked about social media a lot,
Yeah.
which is really interesting, because I'm obviously an old fart. So when I was on the radio, it was kind of, you presented, you used a bit of email, that was the new technology, or listeners could text it, it was like, wow, they can text. But now social media is everything, and if you listen to your show, it's all about trending online, what is trending in social media, what's on Twitter. So I'm just going to play another little clip, which kind of, I think, puts across the importance of talking about what is happening in social media to your listeners.
The other news that has been breaking like absolutely every headline, I don't know why this kind of happens, but it does, and it's always with this particular lady as well. Now, I'm talking about Queen Bee. We all know what I'm about to say. Yeah, can I just tell you a joke about this? I just want to see if you find it funny, because I did.
Go ahead.
So you know, like Beyonce, Bey once, Bey twice. Does anyone get it, yeah? Does anyone get it? It's good, it's good,
I
it's
don't know
good.
if it deserves a laugh, I'll be honest.
Okay,
It wasn't
tight.
bad,
No one was
I've been tight, but
James, no one was asking me, I was not trying. I was asking you that.
that's harsh.
I'm joking. No, do you know what it was? I saw it on Twitter. Someone just put up Beyonce and then Bey twice underneath, and I didn't get it for ages. I just kept reading it. Then I realised that's how she spells her name. Bey once, and now obviously Bey twice. So Beyonce is having twins. The world has has gone absolutely crazy about
I get it now.
Oh, you get it? See, you love it. Hey, you love it. Okay, that's good. I put a smile on your face. That's good. Right, so Beyonce's having twins. The world has gone absolutely mental. So she posted a picture of her announcing the news. She's broken a record now of the most likes on a picture on Instagram. Can you guess how many?
Couple of million?
Yeah, a couple of million. 13 million. 13.
Oh, really? I
That's
was going to guess higher, actually.
That's a lot. Yeah, but I mean, it's probably higher than that right now, but
Is Beyonce there?
13 million likes because she's having twins. Do you know what I don't get though, right? Like, I'm a huge Beyonce fan, you know, I really, really like her, I love her music, I've been to see her live, and to be honest, she is something else. I had a bit of a tear to my eye when I saw her live. There's something about her. But everyone's acting like they're going to her baby shower or something, do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's celebrating, like, yeah, so, what, I don't
What's
get
the big
it.
deal?
She's
What's the
just,
big deal?
yeah, everyone's having babies, yeah?
I'm so glad you came out with that line, because I hate all the celebrity stuff. And I thought it was a big love it. And then he said that, which I was dying for you to say. So it's an entertainment show. It's kind of keeping people company in a light-hearted way on a Sunday morning. It's not hard news. But often that is more tricky to come up with content, isn't it? So how do you come up with what you're going to talk about?
It was difficult at first, but the good thing about radio is you can always improvise. Most of the time it is just improvising. Things that come to the top of your head, things that you've been doing throughout the week. That's what helps me when I'm doing a show like this. I kind of just try and remember all the funny bits that have happened in my life. Every from the littlest thing, it could be a daily thing that's happened to you during the day. I like to keep it in my mind so I can share that. I never really go too hard. Obviously being a weekend breakfast presenter, and I do Saturday and Sunday, we like to look at things on social media that are trending, things that everybody have been talking about, but the fun things. We don't go down the deep route. It's always about stuff like this, you know, naming Beyonce's twins and stuff like that. So I try not to put too much thought into it. I think when you put too much thought into it, it shows. On radio, I think it shows. I think it begins to sound a bit scripted. So it's better to just think from the top of your mind, what have you crossed this week? What happened last night? What happened to you this morning? What happened to you on the way to work? Things like that. That's how I prep for it. But obviously that's not the case for every show. It depends what kind of show you're doing. But for me, for breakfast, to keep it light and fun, it's about the things that I've got up to, about the things my friends have got up to, and then we keep it very music-based as well. So yeah, there's not too much prep.
So social media is one thing that is kind of an added arm to the broadcasting, and I guess even though you go off air when the show finishes, you're always kind of broadcasting a bit because you're a personality, you're tweeting, and you have to be on it, so you never kind of switch off. But also, there's TV, there's video clips, and we've seen over the weekend it was at the Asian Network Live, this massive event in front of how many people were there?
I think there was about 6,000-7,000, yeah.
So you have to be, you can't really just be a radio presenter anymore. What is the job? How would you describe it?
It is an all-rounder. I think you walk into it thinking, I'm just going to be sat behind a mic, that's my job. No one's going to see me. You don't need to make much of an effort to work. I definitely don't dress like this to work, especially at 4 o'clock in the morning for breakfast, no way. But once you become a personality in this industry, which you do, you become a character, they like to then use that in different ways. So you should never walk into radio thinking, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life and that's all I'll be doing. It's not the case. You will be going out for different things, like now Bob's just mentioned, we had a huge event called Asian Network Live, which happened on Saturday night at the event of Apollo. And we were told, you know, as presenters, we'll be hosting the show, we'll be bringing on all these huge acts onto stage. It's going to be broadcasting on the red button, which it was on BBC One. So it's a big deal. So that's when you realise, actually, I'm not just a radio presenter. People that listen to you daily, week in and week out, they kind of see you as their friend. You know, you become that person's friend. So they want to see more of you. And when they see you on a stage like that, they get really excited. They're like, I listen to this person all the time. Like, I do. I still get really excited by the people I work with. I'm constantly I'm constantly that person who's like, oh my God, I used to listen to you. I mean, I've been working there for nearly 2 years, but I'm still so excited. So I get how it feels to be that person in the crowd that's looking at you going, actually, she's really good on stage as well, not just behind the mic. I like watching her. And I don't think it's really a choice. You have to become this character. And I love it. I really do. I enjoy every single bit of it. It's good to challenge yourself. I think it's good to try different things. And hopefully, it won't always be radio forever. I'd like to branch out. So yeah, I think you become a personality.
So this clip's going to demonstrate that a little bit. It's also going to demonstrate how you have to give a bit of yourself to the listener, and you need to show them sometimes a bit of vulnerability, or that you get stuff wrong, or you don't mind having a laugh at yourself. So this clip is a little clip of a game that you do on the show called Game Spinner, right? And so this clip actually comes in halfway. So what's happened is somebody's rung up and said to Harpz, guess my job, effectively. And Harpz has to ask questions to guess what this guy's job is. Simple as that. So already this guy has rung in and given the first bit, and you had no idea, right? No. So and then it comes to the reveal. This is my favourite clip. I love this one.
Okay, it's 8:42, you're listening to the BBC Asia Network, and right now we are playing Game Spinner. So today I landed on Job Hunter. I'm trying to guess our lovely caller who's on the line, Clive. Hey, Clive.
Hiya.
So Clive's on the line with me now, and I'm trying to guess his job role. So the clues he's given me so far are, he works with animals, mainly outdoors, a little bit inside. I asked him if he works by himself or in a team. He said, usually by himself. And then I asked for a clue. Now the clues kind of really messed with my mind a little bit, Clive. So Clive's told me that the animal that he works with, or animals that he works with, they've been around for 30 million years. It's really gonna baffle me, but I am gonna go with one of the answers that my listeners said, Clive. Now, I don't know if this is correct, but I feel like Atul, our listener, needs to know if he's correct. So he says, Harpz, it does sound hard, but is he a paleontologist, a scientist who works with fossils?
No.
So it's definitely not the dinosaurs then?
No.
No, okay. That's gone completely out the window. I think I need one more clue. This is my last clue now, Clive. Make it a good one for me, go on.
Well, I probably did. They are in the animal kingdom, but they're. I think that they're small and sweet, and they're an insect.
Small and sweet.
And they're an insect.
Okay. I'm still very clueless here. I don't know why. Everyone's just looking at me in the studio going, Harpz, why do you not know this? I really don't know this. Okay, this is a tough one. I'm gonna probably ask you one more question.
Go on then.
Or should I just take a wild guess? Which one should I go for?
Ask another question.
Ask another question. Okay, do people come and visit you? As in, do members of the public come and see you?
I don't think many would.
Oh!
I don't think many would like to.
Is this a dangerous animal?
It's not dangerous, but not many people like being around.
Has this got something to do with like tigers or the cat family?
No. Insects.
Oh yes,
Producer
sorry,
laughing in the background.
insects. Clearly the cat family is out of that then. Alright, insects. This is hard.
And it goes on. I love the producer cackling in the background, which
Thanks for that.
yeah, that's cool. But I think that's really important, so for the listeners to feel. It feels real, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
not just you being a slick presenter, knowing all of the songs and talking up to the lyric.
Yeah.
It's giving something of your personality.
Absolutely. I think it's really important to be yourself. Moments like that are natural. That's not scripted. Obviously, tigers are not insects. But when you're not under pressure, but when you're in something quite intense, a game like that, where I'm the one that's under pressure, you naturally forget things that the guys just told you. So it's good to have that naturalness. You've got to be yourself about it. And like I said,
And was that competition built into the programme specifically for that reason.
Yeah, that's exactly why we did it. I remember when we first put together the features for the show, and the one thing me and one of the other guys on my team said was, we want to bring out my personality. So there's no point making up games that you hear on other people's shows just for the sake of it, because it's easy. We had to think of things that would bring more of me out, so people could get to know what I'm about, my sense of humour and all of that kind of stuff. And it clearly works, because sometimes they do put me under these, situations where I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, but it makes good radio. So it's good to be natural. You don't want to sound scripted.
Yeah, okay, and then it actually worked, because what it did was that it drew you into the next programme. Let's listen, this is the two-way.
So, it's 9:43, we are still in Harpz's happy hour, and it seems like I've made one particular person very happy this morning on his driving to work. That's Guggen.
You did, good morning.
Guggen, you're picking on me again this morning.
Well, last time I checked, tigers weren't insects, Harpz Kaur.
I'm now contemplating our friendship. I don't know if you're supposed to be on my side or not.
I got in the car this morning, chap on the phone says, listen, here's my next clue, I work with insects. 20 seconds later, Harpz goes, is it a tiger? I was like, what?
Listen, it slipped out of my mind.
Oh, God.
It slipped out of my mind for like a split second.
Good way to start a Sunday, though.
Shall I tell you
Just
why?
Walking up in the car going, oh my God, Harpz, really?
A tiger's insects. Well, look, listen, the word danger was in my head and I focused on that a bit too much, alright?
Okay then, if you say so.
Look, as long as I made you laugh, it's part of Harpz's happy hour, so good. You're happy, that's the main thing.
I'm happy.
How are you going to make everyone else happy from Tango?
I'm going to play some brilliant tunes, 80s, 90s, naughty stuff, Bollywood, funk out, British Asian music as well. You get to pick.
So obviously, that's a lot of fun. Do you get on with him in real life, or is that all not an act, but is that just you doing your job?
Trying to get me in trouble here. With him in particular, I do actually get on. There have been people where I've done two ways with that I don't really have a personal connection with, but you've got to try and show that you are friends. You've got to do that. But there have been situations where, maybe not with presenters, but where you've brought on people as callers or to interview guests. You might never have met them before, so sometimes it is difficult to kind of get on with them as such. But that's the magic of radio. If you know how to make the listeners feel like you've known each other for years, then that's the key. You just need to know how to speak to certain people to keep them, to make them feel comfortable as well, as though they know you. So yeah, but in particular with Guggen, yeah, we get on. So I think it's always a bonus when you get on with someone. The chemistry shows very clear that you do get on. So yeah.
One thing a lot of students hate, and I bet you hated it when you were here, and I hated it when I was at uni a million years ago, is having to work as part of the group. Group work, people hate it because there's always someone that doesn't pull the weight, and there's always someone that has to drive it. And I sound like a broken record, I sound like a granddad whistling on. I say, when you get in the professional workplace, it's still kind of like that. You go to the BBC and you'll work with people, and some of them are a nightmare, and you have to. It doesn't stop when university stops.
No.
Did you experience?
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. I still do, and you will always get that. It's not just in uni. You do get that. There will be certain situations where they'll put you in a team together, and you've got to come up with something and ideas and whatever it may be. And I know how it feels, as you said, where there is always the one or two people in your group that's never even there. They don't show up, or they'd rather be the silent person and look good. You get that. But you can't make yourself feel like that, because if you try and put yourself in that comfortable position as well, saying, well, if they're not doing it, I'll sit here and not doing anything either, that's not making you stand out. And I feel like you have to pull the weight. It doesn't matter who's pulling it, who's not pulling it. You have to tell yourself, I have to be the one to pull that weight. If you don't, you will always be that person that's in the back seat. That's just the way it is, and other people will see that. You might not think other people can see it. But I know, like, when I was in uni and you were in a group and you had to do things like presentations in front of a room like this, the group would always know which person is not saying anything, which person is just getting away with it. We've done all the hard work. And you might be thinking no one's noticing it, But they do. Every single person that's sat in the room will know which one's not speaking, which one's not talking. You can't be that person if you want to get far. If you want to be the person to stand out, you have to pull the weight. It doesn't matter. Even if no one wants to do it, you have to put your hand up and say, actually, I'll do this.
And if you're having a day where you're just having one of those days and you're not up for it, or you're anxious about doing an event because you didn't have enough time to prepare, or whatever it is, but you have to perform, how do you do it? How do you make sure that you still perform even if you're on a day when you're not feeling it?
It's normal and it's very natural to have days like that. Everyone has bad days. Everyone can wake up in the morning and go, I'm not feeling it. But it's drive, it's determination, and it's passion, and I think that's what gets me going. I can only talk for myself, but I think for me, it's definitely the drive, because I can wake up feeling really ill. I can wake up, even now, I do the breakfast show, I have to wake up at 4 o'clock. No one wants to wake up at 4 o'clock, especially in the winter, when you look outside and you're thinking, it's not even right to be at work. I should be asleep. But it's the drive that makes me do it. I wake up and I actually think to myself, I look in the mirror and I'm like, right, I look like death. But I love my job. I want to do this. And if I don't do it, I'll probably lose it. You don't know when that one thing is going to go away from you. And I think I've experienced that before I got the dream job. The 6 years of hard work that I had to put in before I got here, I know how difficult it is. And I know how hard it is to grab something and for it to be taken away. It's horrible. So I think the best way for me to describe to anyone is, if you are having a bad day and you don't want to do it and you're really not feeling it, there's got to be, even a little bit, there's got to be just something inside that's telling you, you have to do this. Doesn't matter how ill you are, how under the weather you are, whatever the circumstances, we all go through bad situations, but if you've got the drive and you've got the passion and something is saying, get up and go do it, because this is what you're good at, you will be able to, you will get through it. I can promise you that. It could be the worst presentation or the worst subject. You might hate this certain lecture, but if you just boss it out and you tell yourself, actually, there is something in me that wants to get out of the other side of this tunnel, I've got to stand up and do it. You've got to do it. Otherwise, you're just making life more difficult for yourself. That's what I've seen.
Okay, so I'm going to play the last clip, and this is just the closer to the show. So I'll ask the question once we heard it.
And don't forget, I am back next weekend to do all of this all over again. Make sure you put a note in your diary, set your alarms next Saturday, 6 o'clock we kick off right back here on the BBC Asian Network with a brand new wake-up track, more Jim Jam tunes, a 20-minute mix, and of course, Game Spinner will be back. I'll be spinning that wheel for you again. And have some more chit-chat and bands. And of course, lots of great music. Guggen is with you next, so make sure you stay exactly where you are. See you next week.
Okay, so that's the end of the show. But you've just said you don't switch off. You're your personality, you're on Twitter, you go to live events. How do you make sure that you don't burn yourself out, though? Because it's really hard to say no to anything, isn't it, when it's offered to you? How do you manage it? Or do you not just do it?
I think that's the hardest bit of the job, actually, is switching off. I didn't realise once I got into the job that I'm in now, how intense and hands-on it would actually be. I just thought, I've been given a Sunday slot on breakfast, it's 1 day a week, I'm chilling. I'm not. I have a lot of other things to do during the week. There's a lot of prep to do, I have a lot of meetings to attend, I have a lot of other talks like this to attend. There's all sorts happening all the time. It's really, really hard to switch off. But like you said, it's so important not to say no. Like, you cannot say no to anything. If anyone comes across with a really important opportunity, it could be anything, never second think about it. Like, never have second thoughts. I've learned. Because I used to think, can I actually be bothered waking up this early to go there and do this? Can I be bothered to get in the car and travel at 5 in the morning and do this? You do have them moments, but if you say no to something, that person will probably not come back and ask you a second time. They'll probably just think, well, she wasn't that interested the first time, so I'm not going to bother ringing again. And you lose it. That opportunity is just gone, and you won't get it. So it is hard. It is hard, but you You cannot say no. I don't think you ever switch off. I now do Saturday and Sunday, and I feel like my routine of life is non-stop. I can give you an example now. Like, I've just flown back from India on Friday. I've got no idea what day and time it is, because as soon as I landed, I had to get a train to London. I had to do my breakfast show at 4 in the morning, bear in mind the jet lag. And it's a 4-hour show that I do. Straight after that, I had to prep for the chart show because it was Asian Network Live, so presenters were all over the place. I had to sit in and do it. Straight after that, I headed to the event in Apollo, had to host this show in front of thousands of people for TV, get changed. It's hard work. And then getting back up here to do something else, and I'm on the go. Even straight after this, I'm going straight back to Birmingham now. I've got another meeting there. And this is what I'm trying to say. You don't switch off. You might get given a 2-day gig or a 1-day gig, whatever it may be. It's very hard to switch off up here. But I've learned I kind of like it and I need to enjoy it, because when I'm not doing anything, I feel weird. I feel like something's not right, and I get really bored and I get very agitated and I annoy everyone around me because I feel like I need to be busy all the time. I need to be doing something. So I'm embracing the fact that I'm busy. It's probably a good thing that I am. So it's hard to switch off.
Very good. Before we let Harpz get off to Birmingham then, has anybody got any questions we can put to her? Any questions? Anyone going to be brave? James?
At the very beginning you said you were doing lots of bits and bobs and jobs and things until you kind of got on the interview pathway. What were you doing, all those little things, just to keep yourself alive and going and motivated? Can you remember?
I freelanced a lot as soon as I graduated. So the bits and bobs I was doing was like working for local radio, doing a bit of news reporting, a bit of news reading, and I was travelling up and down a lot. And I used to get really irritated because I thought, I don't want to be doing this forever. It wasn't what I wanted to do. News for me, I enjoyed it for the time that I got to do it, but it wasn't something I lived and breathed. And that's when I realised, actually, I need to be doing something else. I need to be doing more with myself. And I lost a lot of patience. You do have days where you feel like you want to give up and you just want to stop and think, oh, you know what, forget it. But I started to use tools that I could access myself, such as social media was massive at that time. Twitter was there, Facebook, obviously, YouTube and things like that, and Instagram, Snapchat. I tried to make myself recognizable as much as I could before I got to a platform like this. And that's what kept me busy. I had to do that.
And did you formulate some kind of plan to keep you going, some timetable?
I'm really bad at that. I'm really, really bad at. My mum still has a go at me why I've not got a calendar in my room, why I've not got a diary in my bag. I can't do it. You'd think right now I've got a diary in my I really haven't. This is why I'm like all over the place all the time. But I'm so bad that I'm not saying you guys should do that. You should be very organised in life. But I can't run off a diary. So I used to try a lot, and I'd be like, right, I'm waking up at this time, I'm going to be here at 7, I've got to be there at 8. Never worked for me. I just had to carry on doing what I'm doing and somehow remember it in my mind. That's how I work better. But it is good to have a plan. I always did have a plan in mind, so I know what I'd be doing next week or what I want to do with my life the next week. But one tip, do write things down. You need to. I'm bad at that, I admit it.
Yeah, me too. Anybody else?
Would you recommend doing the postgrad program if you're undergrad graduating this year, or is it a bit of a scale with what's going forward?
110%. I would, again, I'm talking from my experience. When I graduated, I finished my undergrad, I sat there thinking about it for a long time. And when I read the postgrad, I read about it, and I thought, actually, you know what? It is, I know people say once you've finished, you're guaranteed a job, you're going to go straight into what you want. In the real world, it is difficult. It is difficult, and it's just getting more and more harder now. It's very competitive. But when I read about it, I thought, you know what? It's only an extra year. It's what, 8 months? I can't remember how long it is, something like that. It's only 8 months. Maybe I should just ride it out, gain some more experience. And it's completely different to the undergrad. I must say, I learned a lot more in my postgrad in terms of practical work. You had to do a lot of live things. I remember it was Leeds Leeds Online or something. Oh, gosh, I can't remember what it was called. But we had to go out and, you know, grab the news ourselves, do these vox pops and actually portray it as though it was a news program, and it was live streaming on the Trinity website. So I remember doing things like that and doing online radio and stuff, and I wouldn't have got that much experience if I was still doing the undergrad. So I think it's definitely worth it. It's made me stand out more when I've gone out and done more jobs, even local radio, when I was freelancing and things like that. It always stood out. It really, really did. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying do it for the sake of it, to look good. It's not about that. It just shows a little bit more determination that you wanted to do a bit extra. And that extra really, really stood out for me. So, in my opinion, it's definitely worth it. It's only, 7-8 months, just do it.
Christine?
Harpz, would you have 5 minutes before you go for a quick interview with me, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
As long as you tell me when to stop, because I can talk.
Brilliant.
What's the most valuable thing you've learned about being in the media business overall?
That's a tough question. The most valuable thing is, this might sound weird, but it's knowing my worth. I think you appreciate what you're doing once you get onto a platform like this, and you have to kind of realize that you're good at it. It's not about showing off. It's not about telling the world this is who I am. But you've really got to have self-belief, and I think I've really learned that from what I've been doing. And that's the most valuable thing to me, is knowing that I've got this now, and I've got it for a reason. So I must be good at something, and keep it. You've got to keep hold of that. I don't think it's hard in this business to go down that route of having a big head and having the ego-ness, because you see it a lot. I'm in the London studios, and it's a huge building, and I'm around a lot of people a lot of the time. And I'm not saying everyone's like that, they're not. But you will come across certain people that are, and I always try and tell myself I don't ever want to be that person. So I value myself, and I value where I am. I think that's the most important thing for me, is just know your worth.
John?
Yeah. What do you think is the cultural impact of the existence of the BBC Asian Network?
I think now it's changing a lot. In terms of culture, 100%, because the Asian Network as a network are now trying to make it younger as well. So it's not all about the Asian side of things and the age. We've now opened it up to a lot of younger audiences and broader. It's not just Asian people that listen to the Asian Network. We have the most diverse audience possible. You wouldn't think it, but we really, really do. And I think since I've joined, I've probably come in at the right time, because my show in particular, we base it around things that you might even hear on Radio 1 in the morning. It's just the fun stuff. And you have people from all kinds of backgrounds tuning in, and I think it's really important to keep that open. I think it's constantly changing, constantly.
Prior to you actually getting the job, did you have any experience working at BBC, or was it just getting that straight away, essentially through freelancing and stuff?
So the funny thing is, my first piece of radio work was work experience whilst I was here at uni. During undergrad, I had to go out and get some radio work experience, and I went for Fever, which is based in Leeds here. And I was there for 2-3 weeks. The placement was 2-3 weeks. And as soon as I finished, the guy said to me, "Do you want to stay on? It's voluntary, but I can give you a show. You can be here now every week." And I sat there going, I'm going to be on radio. It was a massive thing, and I took it on. Believe it or not, I stayed there for 6 years. And as well as that, I was freelancing. So I was doing a lot of the other things that I mentioned, a lot of new stuff and whatever. But that's when I realized that now I need to go out and get some more. I can't just stay at Fever and say, well, I've stayed at Fever for 6 years. So I thought maybe I should go for something a bit bigger. So I have worked at a lot of other places. I've done a bit of news reading for Capital during my postgrad, which, to be honest, I got a lot of help from uni here. A lot of lecturers here helped me get that as well. So that's key as well. Always get the help that you can. It's only going to get you further. Don't be shy not to ask. I've worked at places like Metro in Newcastle for TFM, And then I also got the opportunity of working at BBC Radio 4 in Salford at Media City. So I have done bits of BBC here and there, and I worked for Woman's Hour. But I can't say to you I got the job at BBC because I worked at Radio 4, because that wasn't the case. I didn't get it because of that. I think I got it because the 6 years that I had in between, from uni and now, I filled it up with as much things as possible. And when I mean as many things, I mean I started my own YouTube channel, I started making mixes because I got into DJing. I did everything I could, you know, just for people to recognise who I am and what I'm doing. So it wasn't BBC Radio 4 that stood out. It's a bonus, and it definitely matters. But I'm not saying I got that because of it. But what I will say is do as much as you can. Never stay in one spot. I was talking about comfort zones earlier on, and it's easy to be in a little hole thinking, I know what I'm doing here, I'm comfortable, don't want to go out, don't want to do anything else. You have to do it. Grab as many things as you can, try different things, challenge yourself. The more you get on that CV, the better you're going to look outside. And that worked for me. So I built it up as much as I could. So do as much as you can.